Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Let's Talk Real Estate with David and Company. We have a panelist of real estate experts. I am your host, David Washington, the CEO and qualifying broker for Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. We are a full-service real estate brokerage firm. To your right, we have Yvette Odom and we have Bill Pollock from First Option Mortgage. We also have Juanita Kraft. She is going to be the credit repair specialist, and she wants to talk to you about the different techniques on getting your credit back to where it needs to be in order for you to buy your home. And we have a foreclosure attorney, Ralph Washington. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Well, what we're going to do today is Foreclosure Tuesday in Georgia. And what does that mean? That means properties are being auctioned or have been auctioned this morning. So for people that were facing foreclosure, this panelist is going to talk a lot from the homeownership standpoint, from buying your first home all the way to if you are having some life issues, and let's face it, in a 30-year period of time, most people are lucky not to have any issues, but the ones that are unfortunate that have a death in a family, a loss of a job, a probate situation, a car accident, a lot of us are just 1 month away from facing a foreclosure situation. So we have experts here that can talk to you about getting yourself prepared for homeownership, as well as what you can do if you are facing an unfortunate situation of a foreclosure. So we want to start off with Juanita Kraft, who is our credit repair person. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Juanita, and tell us about your company?
Yes. First of all, thank you for having me here. I have my own credit repair agency. It's called Credit Medic Express, and I've partnered with two very credible companies that have been in existence since 2004. And what we do is we help people to get negative things off their credit, and we also educate them on the things to do to build positive credit and some of the other tools that are needed, such as budgeting, savings, credit monitoring, will trust power of attorney. Believe it or not, so many people don't even know that they actually need it. So we're really more of a financial literacy company, but with an emphasis on credit restoration.
Okay. So for instance, Juanita, if someone has a 530 credit score, and we know, and we're going to talk to the loan officer shortly, FHA and some other VA programs require a minimum of a 580 credit score. How can you instruct someone, or your company can assist someone in being able to improve their credit score so they can get themselves prepared for home ownership?
Well, first of all, what they want to do is you got to know your score. If you don't even know your score, then you don't even know where to start. You need to have a copy of your credit report, and then you want to dispute anything that's negative.
Okay, so let me ask you before you go on, how do I get a copy of my credit report? Let's say I have no idea what's on there. I feel a little uncomfortable because I know I haven't paid my bills on time in the last 5 years or so. How do I get a copy of my credit report, and what does it cost?
Well, it's pretty easy to get a copy of your report because the credit reporting agencies are required to allow you to have one free copy per year. But the thing is, with my company, you don't have to do that because we can start working on your credit even without you pulling your credit report.
Okay. So how would one get in contact with you to get that process initiated?
Okay, I'm under www.creditmedicexpress.com. That's CREDI, credit T, Medic MEDIC Express EXPRESS.com, and that has all of my contact information.
Very good. Is there a phone number or any way of being able to get in contact with you that way?
Yes, that's also on that link, but it's 404-281-8084.
Very good. So as a real estate broker, I deal with a lot of people that's trying to buy their home for the first time. Again, Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors, we're very proud to announce that this is our premiere show. This show will air on every Tuesday from 5 to 6 on 108praise.com radio. And what we're going to be doing is talking about all of your real estate needs, your issues, the positive, the negatives. We're going to talk about real estate investing, first-time home ownership, foreclosure prevention. If you're a real estate professional, like a real estate agent, and you're trying to get a short sale closed, I've written some materials. We have a book that I've written called Mastering the Short Sale Game, 10 Simple Steps to Getting Your Short Sale Approved. You can get that on Amazon, or you can visit my website at www.kiplingrec.com, and you can purchase that book. And anyone listening to this show this evening, the first 10 callers, you can call my office at 770-691-3050, and we're giving away the first 10 callers, we're giving a free copy of that book, downloadable version of that book. But our agents at Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors deal with a lot of first-time buyers. We've talked about the credit issue. Now we're going to talk to our loan officers. We got our credit together. Now we want to deal with the money because we don't have our purchase price sitting in our bank accounts or under our mattresses. So now we have to rely on First Option Mortgage. So Yvette, tell us a little bit about your company, please.
Yes, thank you for having us here. And First Option Mortgage is a company that we focus on helping you. First of all, we're not just focused on basically denying you or setting you up for a failure, but we're setting you up for success. I think that's one of the reasons why we stand out. We will qualify you or take a snapshot of what's going on with your credit. We don't do a hard pull to start, we do a soft pull. It's easy for you to access our application online and call us up. You can talk to us, we're easy to speak with. And we do have Bill Pollock here as well, who is one of our Spanish-speaking loan officers that can help you just as much as.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about the hard pull and the soft pull. So for most people, we know that a hard pull is going to show up as an inquiry on your credit report, and if people are shopping around for different mortgages, and they see 3 or 4 mortgage companies that pulled a hard pull on their credit, they see there's the inquiries. Inquiries that stay on your credit report for quite some time, don't they, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Okay. So a soft pull is actually a better way of being able to get a pre-approval because it's not damaging the credit. Am I correct with that?
Yes, that's correct. And a soft pull is also going to show as an inquiry, but it does not pull the credit score down as much as a hard pull would.
Very good.
In fact, it's the better way to have someone take a look at you to start with, because after that, they can give you a pretty good idea of what to focus on, and from there, give you more guidance.
Very good.
Of course, at some point, you may be good to go, and then other times you may need to speak to Juanita or someone, that can help you continue to improve that credit.
Very good.
The bottom line is we want to help you and guide you into home ownership, because that's the reason why you come to a mortgage company.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. Well,
really
Bill, I got a couple of questions for you, but I want to make a statement. Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors specialize in education as well. And we have our own materials that we've written. We have courses that we've written. We have a first-time buyers program that you guys are our preferred lender, First Option Mortgage. So for people that's trying to get their first home, or even trying to get back into home ownership, we have a connection with you all to where they can actually apply with an app on their phone, or they can go to, what's your website?
it is YODOM, so my first initial last name, myfirstoption.com.
Very good. And you can actually apply for a loan. Now, what I like about that process, because I'm applying for a mortgage right now myself on my new home, and unfortunately, I didn't bring the business to you guys, and shame on me. However, I started the process, and I'm actually under contract and supposed to close in relatively soon. I've had to extend my contract twice already. I'm not able to speak to my loan officer to get any details. Of course, I'm not sure if this is where it's being underwritten. So I know it's a little frustrating, and I'm a real estate professional. So you can imagine what a homeowner who has no idea about this process is. So First Option Mortgage has real-time connections with the real estate agents to be able to find out the process of the loan application.
Yes, the customer would actually receive a portal once they apply, which is just a back office that will help them log in and know what their status is, as well as emails at different milestones. The agent will also have that information, as well as the loan officer. So it just helps everyone along the process, and we stay in contact even after they've closed for up to 5 years.
Very good. And I know in my case that would have been very helpful if I had somebody working on my loan and sending me constant alerts and emails saying, hey, we need A, B, C, D, or
Absolutely.
we're close to closing, or I'm right now I'm on pins and needles because I don't understand. So that's the purpose for providing this show, is providing information, keeping people aware of options, being able to provide professional services to them. So, Bill, what type of loan programs do you know of that you guys can, you know, recommend to a first-time home buyer? What's the difference between applying for a conventional mortgage versus an FHA loan or what have you? Can you tell a little bit about that to our audience?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you having me on the show today. Basically, the difference between FHA and conventional, a lot of people have a negative feeling about FHA. They feel that if a buyer has an FHA loan, it means it's doom and gloom and there's going to be a lot of issues during the process. But actually, FHA has done a good job on restricting or actually shaving down a lot of the documentation they used to have in the past. If you go FHA, you only need 1 month bank statement versus conventional is 2 months bank statements. FHA is 3.5% down for first-time buyers. Conventional, though, is 3% down for first-time buyers. Fannie and Freddie Mac have great programs for first-time buyers where they can put as little as 3% down. Their mortgage insurance is reduced. Mortgage insurance is an insurance fee that you have to pay every month if you don't put 20% down.
Very good.
So, if you go as a first-time buyer, you get a reduced fee for the MI, for the mortgage insurance. You also get a reduced rate. So it really can help a buyer who wants, let's say, for example, they want to buy a house that's not FHA approved. Might be a house that's owned by an investor who bought it in kind of not so great shape.
Yes.
And they want to sell it right away. If you go FHA, you have to wait 90 days before
The seasoning period. Very good.
Before they can buy the house. And there might have to be, if there are any broken windows or missing cabinets and things like that, you can't go FHA. You have to go conventional. So it's conventional with a 620 credit score. They can qualify for that first-time buyer program with 3% down and purchase that house in as-is condition.
So two theories that I have. One, now applying for an FHA loan myself, and I was actually prepared to put 20% down. But I just found out that it doesn't matter how much you put down. Now you're required to have mortgage insurance, for 11 years? Is that something new that just happened?
Yeah, so if you put 10% down or more, then your MI is only for 11 years.
Okay.
So I think 11 or 12 years. If you put less than that, then you have to keep it for the life of the loan. You can put 50% down on a loan for FHA, and you still have to have mortgage insurance.
Okay.
I don't see really a reason why you would do that, unless you're
Trying to lower that monthly payment for some reason?
well. Even then, you're still FHA loans has what's called a funding fee. It's 1.75%
Of the loan amount?
and that's financed back into the loan. So a conventional loan with 5% down or even 3% down, the payments may actually be lower
Wow.
than an FHA loan that has that funding fee and the MI rate.
Okay.
Especially if your credit score is over 700.
Okay.
So if your credit score is over 700, your MI rate may be lower, even though your payment might be slightly higher.
Okay.
But because you don't have that funding fee, your payment may actually be lower than the FHA loan.
And that's the reason why we want our listening audience to understand this whole process, because again, there are so many moving components. You have different administrations that changes the rules, like on some respects, some parts of Dodd-Frank has been repealed. Now banks are actually lending more money. It's actually easier to get money. Dodd-Frank hasn't been eliminated altogether, but it's still, components of it is now making it more feasible to be able to buy a property because banks have more money to lend. So
Yeah, we actually have access now to scores down to 500.
Wow.
People who filed bankruptcy last year or had a foreclosure last year can buy. They don't have to wait.
Okay.
It's more money down, maybe a higher interest rate, but they can still buy.
They can still buy.
Yeah.
That's
So
the whole
A
thing.
lot of that quote-unquote subprime stuff we had in the past is actually creeping back in again.
Yes, and that's a good thing because everybody don't fit within that perfect square. So that's the wonderful thing, and you need to be able to have options. The wonderful thing about the subprime, and we're going to get to our foreclosing attorney here in a moment because he's been able to do some things legally because people have been with these subprime mortgages that just hadn't been what I would say ethically correct. But subprime is coming back, but the thing of it is the states like Georgia's a very creditor-friendly state simply because we have a lot of more strict rules. I will say that transparency and being able to, you have to tell homeowners what they're getting now. You have to tell them your interest rate is based on Federal Reserve opposed to a LIBOR index. So now you have a lot more information. So even if subprime do come back, it probably won't be nowhere near as bad as it has been because it's now requiring the banks to be more, this is what the homeowner is borrowing and this is what it's going to cost if they don't pay.
Yeah, it's a different story now that we have a national system versus a state regulated system.
Mhm.
The state is now overseeing the license versus the federal government basically coming in and saying now all mortgage people have to be licensed under the national system. So
Mhm.
it will definitely be a new
Right, because
day.
before it used to be just the mortgage company had to be licensed, but now the individual loan officers, in addition to the mortgage companies, have to possess that same real estate that mortgage broker's license. Very
That
good.
is correct.
Very good. So that does streamline it a little bit.
I want to make a small point to Ms. Juanita's business and why it's so important is that a lot of people try to correct their credit themselves, and that we see mistakes that can actually cost them, being able to qualify for a loan right away. So it's very good to have guidance, and I know she's gonna speak a little bit more, but it's very important to have someone to actually let you know how to take care of your credit issues. So.
And speaking of credit issues, I'm glad you said that. That's a heck of a point. Juanita, there's a lot of moving components that we just talked about in the loan origination process. But even on credit, now you can get boost on your credit report by doing exactly what? With your bank statements and with your utility bills, things that you pay that don't normally report to your credit report, at least unless until you get into default, that you can
Oh,
actually
they'll
get
show
your
up.
credit. Yeah,
They'll
you can
show
get your
up when
credit
you
scores
get it.
boost. So tell us a little bit about that, Juanita.
Well, what we do, my company does not do that, but there is another company that you can use your utility bills and so forth. Now, we do have something called Credit My Rent, where you can take your rent statement, that as long as you didn't get evicted, it's good, okay? So you can go back 2 years and add the rent statement to your credit report, and you can see, as much as 100 points maybe.
That's
like
amazing.
30 days, if you
Especially
go
for
back.
those that's right on the cusp of being able to qualify for fair credit and good credit, that makes a significant difference.
It's huge for people that have been renting and not getting any credit for that huge bill that they're paying every single month.
Very good.
If someone has a 580 credit score, for example, they might be able to get an interest rate of somewhere around 5.75%, 6%, but it's going to cost them $3,000 or $4,000 to get that high rate. And if they just spend the time to get their rate up to about 620, they could probably get that same rate for no cost.
Right.
So it's a huge difference. That 20-point difference makes a big difference.
And the insurance. They're going to pay more for insurance with that low score,
That's
so
true.
it's going to raise your payment
Wow,
there.
that's absolutely true.
Home insurance
Yes.
and car insurance. So
Mhm.
you're gonna pay that over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And mortgage insurance.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Everything is
Yep.
Well,
based
the
on that
MI
credit score.
portion,
Yeah.
PMI, in other words.
Mhm.
You might as well.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
So this is what this whole premise of this, what we do at Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. We always collaborate with our experts, our legal experts, our non-legal experts, our credit people, our money people. If you're interested in buying your first home, if you're interested in learning how to invest in real estate, if you're a real estate professional and you're trying to get your short sale closed, or you can have a listing and have be in a binding contract and that your client fails to tell you that they haven't been making their mortgage payments in the last 3 months. We specialize in real estate related issues, and we come up with solutions for those issues. And at the end of the day, just getting a foreclosure sale stopped. So I'm going to talk about that for just a moment. The folks that's facing foreclosure today, either they were successful in getting the foreclosure sale canceled, or unfortunately they're in a different mindset to where they can possibly be prepared to get an eviction notice. Georgia is a no right of redemption state, meaning that if your property was foreclosed on today, you've lost all rights to your property. And I'm going to get right into that with the foreclosing attorney, Ralph Washington. And Ralph, tell us a little bit about you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ralph Washington. I can be reached at 404-472-500. And David and I have worked together, not related, but professionally. We've been on a lot of tasks together. I'm the second attorney you're probably going to see after you've been to your closing. At your closing, when you bought your house, you're very happy, ready to move into it with the keys and all, and you signed a document called a security deed. In that security deed, you didn't know it, but you just handed over to the lender the title to your property and the right to foreclose on your property on Foreclosure Tuesday, which is every first Tuesday of the month in Georgia. What does that really mean? It means that you're giving them power of attorney to send you a 30-day notice that you have not paid your payments, and we're going to foreclose on your house on today would be Foreclosure Tuesday. Now, what I do, being the second attorney after the foreclosing attorney, is to stop that foreclosure by filing a legal document called an injunction or temporary restraining order. That would temporarily stop the foreclosure until such time as we can get into some other loss mitigation obligations or procedures to save your house.
Very
And,
good.
yeah, and I've had a lot of, we see a lot of credit reports, and I do see a lot of people who they have a Chapter 13 in their name, and then Chapter 7 in their name. And I pull the wife's credit, and the wife has a Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, and I ask them, why did you do that? To stop foreclosure.
Yes.
And that's. You know,
Definitely, a bankruptcy will stop a foreclosure, but typically you can only file one foreclosure to stop, one bankruptcy to stop a foreclosure. You can file continuous bankruptcies, but the law in bankruptcy is that once you file the first bankruptcy, it'll automatically stop a foreclosure, but a second bankruptcy will not automatically stop a foreclosure. A lot of people don't know that.
yeah. And then if they dismiss it, are they able? I mean, I'm not telling people to go ahead and do this, but I see a lot of dismissed bankruptcies.
That's what typically happens. The bankruptcy, bankrupt creditor, lender will stop the foreclosure by filing a Chapter 7 or 13. But that does not stop them from getting a second bankruptcy to stop a foreclosure
Again.
again.
And I
One
know-
time deal.
Yeah, and I know exactly what you're saying, Bill. In the industry, I mean, 90% of my business, and I'm the qualifying broker for my business, but we do have a staff of licensed agents that they have their own particular expertise. Mine is actually dealing with the actual listing, the actual homeowner. But of course, being a full-service real estate brokerage firm, we specialize in everything. And in the beginning, when we actually list these properties, and so, for instance, as I stated earlier when I was talking to one of my colleagues here, we don't really advocate against anybody. We advocate for the transaction that the homeowner finds themselves in. There's a phone call right there. So that means if you are facing a foreclosure, and we end up listing your property as your broker, and we sell that property on a short sale. A lot of people don't understand exactly what a short sale is. A short sale is when you actually take the total amount that you owe on your first mortgage, your HOA, your property taxes, and any other encumbrances on a property, and that exceeds the fair market value of the property. And you're not able to satisfy what you owe against a property if you sold the property. Most of those numbers are based on fair market value and not what Zillow say or whatever. So that means somebody is taking a short payoff, and that's where the term short sale comes in. And I understand that term short sale has been out since the 70s. When we went through a foreclosure crisis in the mid 2000s, 2006, 2007,
2008.
yeah, it became a household name. And what people don't understand is there are systems with short sales. On my very first short sale transaction, we had two mortgage companies. The first one was actually in foreclosure. We had an originating lender. We had, for the buyer, we had a buyer's agent, seller's agent, and the numbers with the property was over $40,000 over encumbered. And I was brought in to negotiate that short sale, and I was able to make the numbers work, and everybody walked away getting paid. And now these mortgage companies have incentivized the process with homeowners by allowing them to get relocation incentives. So they're getting something out the deal, because before, when short sales first came out, homeowners weren't able to get anything. You couldn't make $1 off the short sale. But everybody at the closing table got something except the homeowners. So now they've incentivized the program to where homeowners are able to get relocation incentives, sometimes up to $30,000 on that property. The average is about $3,000, but most of the ones that I've seen in the last couple of years has been $10,000. So you're getting $10,000 at the closing table. You're getting the deficiencies waived. If you have junior lien holders on a property, like a second mortgage or so, they're under the short sale program, they are not allowed to come back after you under the same program. So the first mortgage company dictates the terms of the short sale. So you're getting the deficiencies waived, and you're getting these relocation incentives, and you're able to move out of the property with dignity. But one thing that most real estate professionals fail to tell their clients which in the next 2 years or so after you sold that property, is that homeowner is now going to be tax liable. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen that in your industry. I'm pretty sure you have, where the mortgage company has charged off that balance and they have forgiven that balance to you, and now the homeowner is being taxed at that amount of the deficiency, and sometimes it's at the rate of capital gains.
Capital gains, yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah.
So we want our clients to be educated about the process. There is something you can do about it, but your real estate professional needs to tell you about it, because it typically doesn't happen to about a year or two after you sold your property. And if you occupy the property as the owner and you selling it, when you talk to your tax preparer, you need to ask them about the mortgage and debt forgiveness. There's a particular act out there that allows the deficiency to be waived not only through the mortgage company but also through the IRS. If you don't occupy your property and this is an investment property, you're not entitled to the mortgage and debt forgiveness. So again, if you come to Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors and we list your property and we end up doing a short sale on your property, we can explain all of that to you. We have a coaching system. All of our agents are very astute with the short sale process. A lot of times you have multiple mortgages that's involved. You have a first mortgage, a second mortgage. The first mortgage may fall into foreclosure while you're trying to negotiate a second mortgage. And guess who we have to pick up the phone and call? We have to call Ralph Washington at that point, because now we need to interrupt the foreclosure process while we work on that short sale. Because even though we're working on a loss mitigation option or a short sale, the mortgage company can still move forward with foreclosure. Am I correct on that, Ralph?
Once we do the temporary restraining order, we get a judge to decide that the mortgage company has done something that's not correct in terms of some kind of procedure that they were supposed to employ. And we'll go to a judge, typically the Superior Court judge of your county where your property is located, and ask for an equitable decision by the judge to stop the foreclosure in its tracks.
Very good. And see, a lot of times I've seen this. I've been in the business since 1988, believe it or not. I might not look my age, but I've been in the business for a long time. And when I first started my business, I used to go and knock on doors. Now, of course, you have social media, you have, ways that you can advertise, but a lot of people don't look at social media. They may not have the particular cable network that your commercial is running on, or they may not look at one of the local stations, but you're on the other station. So periodically, we go knock on doors. And I just knocked on a door not long ago, and our client in this situation, her mom had just passed, and her mom died intestate. And unfortunately, the young lady, she didn't know what to do. Her mom just recently died, and the mortgage company wouldn't talk to her. She's responsible for 2 small siblings. And in this particular case, she just needed to get the foreclosure stopped so she can collect her bearings and figure out what needs to be done. I understand that there's some death benefits that may be involved, to where she may even have enough money to pay the mortgage off. But talking to the mortgage company, the first thing they tell her is, we can't talk to you because you're not authorized. Nothing we can do. We're sorry your mom passed, but we're getting ready to foreclose on the property. And this is exactly why we put a team of experts together to help you with your loan origination needs, your credit needs, your foreclosure needs, and your real estate needs. And this is a one-stop shop for us. So Ralph, in a situation like that, again, our client may have to call you. We may have to refer someone over to you to interrupt that foreclosure process and allow these people to be able to collect their thoughts and be able to move forward. But Ralph, one of the other things I want to talk about, I want to talk about a little bit about some of the things that we haven't discussed yet, like real estate fraud and some scams that people may have been victims of that have legal recourse.
Definitely important.
Yes, after the 2007 and 2008 mortgage bubble burst in the national economy, there were a lot of schemes and scams perpetrated by people, homeowners or real estate agents giving false appraisals. A lot of information that was not pertinent to the homeowner that caused mortgage fraud to be perverse throughout the country. And to that, the banks were involved as well. In fact, the 5 largest banks were involved with, not necessarily the mortgage scam, but the robo-signing you may have heard about, where they signed documents that were perpetrated to the industry that were actually false. And from that, we got a number of federal agencies to get involved in helping homeowners save their homes.
I know on one of the very first transactions I did, where the mortgage companies were 100% at fault. Now, keep in mind when the industry came down on the foreclosure bubble, they wanted to blame everybody technically, but the mortgage companies weren't the ones that got blamed. And on this one particular transaction, it was 80-20 mortgage on a $1 million property. It was a Frank Lloyd Wright property, as a matter of fact. And the loan was originated. It was a straw investor that got this property. And the straw investor had no intentions on living in the property. At the end of the day, it ended up being a first mortgage payment default. I came in on the end of negotiating a settlement for the buyer. And the loan originator brought me to the table to negotiate this deal, but it was a pre-foreclosure. And I talked to the mortgage companies. Once we pulled title, we found out in a 1 year period of time that loan had been sold 5 times, and that's unheard of. It's normal for it to be transferred the first year or so, but not to 5 different lien holders or lenders in a 12-month period of time. So we successfully negotiated the short sale. We got title back on the property. We are ready to close. The closing attorney calls me and says, hey, David, there are no mortgages on this property according to the title report that I just received. And I'm like, that's crazy. I just negotiated a short sale with both first and second mortgage. And he said, yeah, I understand that, but these loans have been canceled. This property is free and clear. So what I'm saying is when these folks blame the mortgage industry's crisis on real estate agents, appraisers, loan officers, credit repair people, everybody that took part in the origination process, they did not really talk about how mortgage companies, whether they intentionally do it or unintentionally do it, is still fraud. It's still some type of scam. So in that situation, we ended up doing our due diligence and we challenged it. We took it to court. And indeed, the mortgage companies were not interested in repairing the situation. They could have gone back and bought these loans back or, reversed these transactions, but they swept it under the rug. So we sent them notification, and at the end of the day, we ended up with a free and clear property. But this is exactly what I'm saying. Knowledge is power. And what I want to do is I want to focus our energy on people that's trying to get their real estate needs, being able to get their credit correct. That's number one. Dealing with a knowledgeable real estate agent is one of the most important things. Then dealing with a competent, reliable mortgage broker or mortgage company that service their own products or underwrite their own products, whatever they need their money right. And then we want to give people the education to be able to maintain, because in a 30-year period of time, which is a standard time for a loan, a mortgage, something is bound to happen. We want people to be aware of what happens if it does happen. What happens if I find myself in a divorce case or in a probate situation or a car accident or what have you? What do I do?
Bankruptcy or foreclosure.
Sure. I lost my job. What do I do?
Right.
There are certain types of loan modification programs and loss mitigation options that your mortgage companies by law have to offer, but by law they don't have to give it to you. So what does that mean exactly? You can apply for a loan modification. The banks they have to prepare. They have to present it to you. They have to say, yeah, you do have options. But if you go and apply for a loan modification and your debt to income ratios are out of whack, or you don't have sufficient income, or your name is on a deed but not on a mortgage, like some domestic partnerships and relationships and marriages are, everything is not in both people's names. But at the end of the day, what do you do?
It's an interesting point you make, David, about the loan modification programs. Even though they're out there in the industry, the courts have ruled that the homeowner is not entitled by law to benefit from those programs.
Wow.
So they may be, the programs are there, but the homeowner thinking that they're going through a loan modification and they say, aha, I'm get out of the situation, and because I'm dealing with XYZ bank, and they're going to offer me a loan modification. The bank does not by law is required to give you a loan modification.
And a lot of people give up the first time the bank tells them no.
Yeah.
Which
And
is a bad move.
It is a bad move. And going back to that, both of you guys just made very dynamic points, but I want to mention something. When I went and knocked on doors in the beginning, and we talked about how people don't see you on social media, on commercials or whatever, most people that's going through something is going through something. If I lost my job, I'm feeling some kind of maybe a divorce, it may be some other spiritual issues. This is not just a vacuum cleaner that somebody is losing. This is their home. This is where they're raising their kids. This is their lives. And so Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors and our panelists of experts here, we understand that knowledge, you need to be aware of things. We don't want to just make you aware. We want you to participate. As we talked about earlier, Juanita, when you said, when you talked about how your clients need to engage, we want you to engage in benefiting the programs that work for you in your situation.
Yeah, that's correct. We definitely want to educate people on what to do and what not to do. Most people get their credit repaired or restored about 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay, about
Yeah.
3 times. If they buy it, every time they agree to buy a home or a car or whatever, they'll look at their credit score. Okay, I got to get it up so I can do this. But it's better to maintain it. And back to what you were saying before about the person that mother died or whatever, and they could not speak with the mortgage company.
Right.
One of the products that's a part of my service is they will trust and power of attorney,
Very good.
and putting the asset in a trust,
Mm-hmm.
so that versus putting somebody on your title or your mortgage. Because say you're an older person, or you don't have to be older, you put one of your kids to on your checking account or whatever, that person gets sued.
Yeah.
Okay, now they can come and boot you out of your house because they are part owner.
Yep.
But if it's in a trust and that other person is just managing the trust,
That's
they don't.
protection.
Yeah, that's protection. And so, so many people don't know about trusts. In fact, 80% of people do not have them.
Yes.
And so, and I didn't honestly before 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't know anything about trust. I thought you had to be rich to have a trust, but it's good for the common person as well, and the average income person as well. And this is one of the things that my company educates you on.
Yeah, and so that's very important. Now, I want to tap onto what Ralph was talking about, how the courts have ruled that you're not entitled to a loan modification. There's so many misconceptions in the business. How about this? How about I've been making my mortgage payments to one lender for the last 11 years, and guess what? I run through a situation now. I need my mortgage company's assistance. I pick up the phone and I call ABC Mortgage Company because that's who I've been writing my checks to every month for like the last 11 years. And I go through the loss mitigation process. It's lengthy. Keep in mind, as I'm going through the loss mitigation process, the collections process is continuing. The foreclosure process is continuing. That doesn't stop until you get an approval and until the underwriter says, we're going to stop any foreclosure action. But until you get that approval, you're just going through the process. Now, at the end of the day, we're now 2 months into this thing because these loan modifications or loss mitigation options are not 15 minutes long. It's a process. If you don't understand the paperwork, and 90% of mortgage modifications or loss mitigation options that go into default or are rejected because homeowners don't understand the paperwork. So again, we believe in providing that knowledge at Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. We will help you navigate through the process of applying for the loan modification or loss mitigation options. We have a software system that will input your data, and it will automatically print out your mortgage-specific documentation. And number 8 can't be misconstrued for number 6. Things of that nature, because you're handwriting your documentation. Everything is professionally prepared, and you submit it to your mortgage company. But the point that I want to make is now you're 60 days into this applying for this loan modification, and you get a denial letter, and the denial letter says, thank you for your application. Unfortunately, we are not able to approve your loan modification because the investor that owns your loan does not participate with this program.
Well, let me get into that. One thing I mentioned earlier is that when you went to the closing table, you went to ABC Bank, and ABC Bank gave you a loan, or a mortgage lender gave you a loan, and immediately your loan is transferred to another entity called a mortgage servicer. And that mortgage servicer at some point transfers your loan to another mortgage servicer. And you'll end up thinking, what happened? But what happens is you have to pay the last mortgage servicer, and at some point you get frustrated and say, I want to stop this mess. Well, courts have a term for what a lawsuit that you file yourself. It's called a shotgun pleading.
Okay.
It means that basically you don't know really what you're doing, or filing information or in the complaint that doesn't make evidentiary sense. And if for some reason you made a complaint in your shotgun pleading that you could have made had you known about it, the court will at that point tell you you cannot file another pleading. Even a lawyer cannot file one on your behalf because the court has cut you off by a term called res judicata or collateral estoppel, meaning you're foreclosed from filing another complaint. So you don't want to do it yourself.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm so glad that he brought up the servicing side
Yes.
because we are the lender side, and people actually get a little angry with us sometimes because they think we're taking their house and we're actually giving them money.
Very good.
For their home.
Very good.
So-
And that's really important, and we want our clients to understand how it works.
Yes.
This is the beautiful thing. You don't just get in your brand new automobile and start the key up and have no clue how it works. You have to understand the principles behind it. You understand what the tires are for, what the steering wheel is for, the brake, the accelerator. And we're not trying to turn you into rocket scientists, but what we do know, because people have jobs, they have lives, they don't really understand all of that until they get in some type of trouble. And we really want them to understand that you do have options. But our main thing is we want to explain and show you how it works, because if you understand how it works, then you can understand how to navigate between the lines and get your proper assistance and get things that you need. So at the end of the day, we just want to be able to assist you with your real estate needs. Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors, we give our talk shows every Tuesday between 5 and 6. Our talk shows are always going to consist of information. You can pick up the phone and you can dial any of these professionals here. You can dial Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. You can log onto our website at www.kiplingrec.com. We have links and connections to our panelists. We are always going to have company. That's why it's called Let's Talk Real Estate with David and Company. I enjoy my company this evening because we are about helping you achieve your real estate needs. So, you want to give a closing?
Well, by the way, I didn't mention you can call me. You don't just have to fill out an application. My phone number is 678-613-8260. Or if you would like to speak in Espanol, then please reach Bill at 678.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's 678-288-8329 is my office number, or you can text me or call me in Spanish at 404-644-3295.
And so before you guys close out, give us an idea of what kind of timeline it takes from application to closing in a normal scenario.
Well, normal is relative, first of all. Typically, we can close within 3 to 4 weeks.
Very good.
Once we have all documentation secured and in hand. So yeah, we're competitive with some of the other quick closes out there, but
Very
just
good.
relative that you know that we're going to close when we say we're going to close.
Very good.
And not delay your process.
Very good, 'cause,
as much as we
time
have
is money.
control over.
Time is money.
Now, let me say one thing on that. It depends on the program you're doing.
Okay.
Because we do have private lenders that we use for those 500 credit scores. We do tax ID loans for undocumented people. So, and those can take 30 to 45 days.
Very
So
good.
it really depends on the type of program that you're doing.
Okay.
It might take
Yes.
a little longer.
Excellent. Okay, Ralph, you have any closing statements for us? A closing argument, if you will.
Yeah, we can stop a foreclosure with foreclosure defense with a temporary restraining order or an injunction. Typically, the Friday before the foreclosure Tuesday, which is today.
Very good. Excellent. And Juanita?
And I'm Juanita Kraft with Credit Medic Express. We're going to help you get rid of negative things on your credit, as well as show you what to do to build positive credit. And my number is 404-281-8084, or you can go to my site, www.creditmedicexpress.com, and you can email me, text me, or call me from that link.
I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for being with Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors. Let's Talk Real Estate with David and Company
Thank
on
you.
our premiere night. I look forward to our future collaborations,
Yes.
and let's help people achieve their real estate needs. Have a good night, audience.
Good night.
Good night.
That's it?
I'm sorry for coughing, but I was trying to throw in that tidbit about the servicing side versus the
Oh,
lender
okay,
side.
okay.
'Cause